Thank you. Mr. Mulchay, anything to share tonight?
I do. Monday, March 4th, I attended the Camarillo Ranch Foundation Business Development Task Force. It's a kind of a subcommittee. We are tasked with analyzing the business side of the Camarillo Ranch Foundation, particularly the venue and the venue rental. So we're right now doing analysis, a lot of in-depth analysis, going over a lot of numbers, looking at the lay of the land, so to speak, when it comes to venue rental throughout Ventura County and the broader Southern California region, and trying to figure out where we stand. One thing that we did do was we identified key performance indicators, also known as KPIs, just a very quick way of, it's an efficient way, a very effective way to really simply say, these are the things that we're going to track from a quantitative standpoint, and use that to determine whether or not the CRF, particularly the business side, but the CRF as a whole is effective. Primarily from a financial standpoint and a business standpoint. And I'm happy to answer any questions beyond, in regards to that. Tuesday, the very next night, March 5th, I attended the Camarillo Ranch Foundation board meeting. I echo everything Charlotte said. What she said is my exact recollection of events. There were several questions in regards to the Acorn article that had come out, in which I was heavily quoted in. I was asked if I was misquoted or misrepresented in any way. I indicated that I had not been. Everything that I was quoted on saying there is truthful, factual. And I did a lot of analysis on the books to come to some of those conclusions. I'll just touch on this topic a little bit, but the Camarillo Ranch Foundation does have there are certain financial concerns in regards to their sustainability financially. It is something that we, right now at the CRF level, within that organization, they are looking at that rather seriously and significantly, because it does undermine the ability for them to fulfill their mission, which is the preservation and the education and the celebration of that property and everything that it holds, and the Adolfo Camarillo history. So that is my primary concern. That was something I echoed repeatedly in my interview, and it was something that was put there. The very last sentence is that my underlying concern in regards to the financial sustainability of the CRF is finding a solution, finding a way to where we can ensure that they will be financially sustainable moving forward, so as to protect that mission, because I think that is a vitally important mission, and it. Right now, the financial troubles and woes that they're going through undermines that and distracts from it significantly. So we need to do, I'm sure at some point it may come up to this council. That's to be seen. But there's definitely a lot of discussion happening, particularly on the CRF side, in committees and subcommittees and whatnot amongst the board, and trying to we've more or less identified the issues. It's really now trying to figure out what needs to change, and how we go about. Does everything stay intact, or do we need to reform in some aspect the CRF and how they function in order to provide that financial sustainability? So that's a question that is yet to be answered. I don't necessarily have the answer to that question yet, and that's right now it's kind of at the feet of the board.
Shawn, do we have any timeline about, I know they've got subcommittees and whatnot that they've appointed, but do they look to come back with some recommendations? I know I say that because I know they're getting into their busy season, if you will, too.
Yeah. It's my understanding that we haven't set a hard and fast deadline on this. We've casually discussed that it should be wrapped up. Not wrapped up, but whatever changes we make need to likely happen before the end of this fiscal year, which is in June. Their fiscal year, the CRF's fiscal year, in June, so this summer. So that way they could start the next financial year on whatever new course they've determined is appropriate in order to maintain financial security and sustainability moving forward. So, like I said, I don't know exactly what that is going to entail, what that'll look like, but they have numerous different committees amongst just both the board, the business task force. They have a subcommittee, another task force that's looking at the operating agreement between the CRF and the city. I'm not privy as to what's going on in that that meeting. I don't recall. They didn't actually. I don't know if they even gave an update at the last meeting, so I'm not sure. But any other questions? I'm happy to entertain any questions on that topic before I move on to some other items that I attended. If anyone has any questions.
Let me just ask one question. I want to get into this. Mr. Tremblay always says the weeds too much, but their reserves have impacted, but it's not that there's still revenue coming into the board, in other words.
There's revenue coming into the board. The primary concern is that...
I think I need to interrupt at this point. This is now becoming a dialogue,
Okay.
And we should probably...
We'll get that at later.
Yeah, if you want to have a further conversation, it should be put as an agenda item, is my recommendation.
Yeah, we'll get that at
Okay,
later.
fair enough.
Okay.